The basics of R and RStudio. Welcome to this introduction to R and RStudio. In this video, we'll get acquainted with some foundational concepts and applications of R, complemented by the RStudio environment. If you're new to R, you might wonder what it's all about. R is a programming language used for statistical computing and graphics that has become an industry standard for data science and visualization. RStudio is an integrated development environment, or IDE. Think of it as a point-and-click collection of tools where you can run R commands, view figures, import data, and organize projects. The first step is to download and install both R and RStudio. You should install R first. After R is fully installed, you can proceed with RStudio installation. For those who prefer it, RStudio also offers a web-based platform. Once you have everything installed and you're ready, open RStudio. Inside, you'll notice three panels. The console panel. This is the main hub where you input R commands and view displayed results. The Environment History panel. Here, you'll find variables, functions, datasets, and other objects, plus a history of the commands you've executed. The General panel. This is a versatile panel where you can view files, plots, documentation, and various viewer options. We often introduce a fourth panel called the Source panel. This panel lets you write a script of commands before executing them. To view the Source panel, click on the icon at the top of the Console panel. Any scripts you draft here can be saved or loaded as needed. Typically, it's good practice to jot down your R code in the Source panel and run it line by line. To execute a line of code, you can click on the Run icon or use the keyboard shortcuts, Control-Enter for PCs or Command-Enter for Macs. Let's jump into some basic R operations. At its core, R can function like a powerful calculator. Some simple arithmetic operations include addition. Here we have 5 plus 7 equals 12. Subtraction. 15 minus 4 is 11. Multiplication. 3 multiplied by 6 gives us 18. And division. 28 divided by 4 is 7. We can have exponents. Here, 2 raised to the third power results in 8. R follows the standard order of operations. So for a command like 4 plus 10 in parentheses divided by 2 to the third power, R adds 4 and 10 first, then raises 2 to the third power, and then divides the numerator by the result in the denominator. A core concept in many programming languages is that of a variable. Think of a variable as a container where you can store, retrieve, or tweak data with other commands. Using the assignment operator, we can assign values to variables. For instance, here's how we create a variable named side1 and assign the value 27. Let's define another variable, side2, with a value of 44. Having set these variables, they can be included in various operations. Imagine building a fence where the unit cost for side 1 is 3 and for side 2 it is 4. The fence's cost becomes 3 times side 1 plus 4 times side 2, which we find to be 257. To recall a variable, simply type the variable's name. Typing and running side 1 returns 27. Variables can hold different types of data, from single values to entire datasets. We might assign a variable a name. For example, my favorite color might be assigned the string blue. We might assign a variable a logical value. For example, isStudent is assigned to be true. We might assign a variable an operation that involves other variables. For example, we could assign the operation 3 times side 1 plus 4 times side 2 to the variable cost. Another structure that's pivotal in R is that of a vector. A vector represents a sequence of data elements. For instance, this command defines a vector comprised of the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and it stores it into the variable dataset1. Here, the C is what tells R to unify these variables into a single data structure. Let's define a second vector, dataset2, that contains the values 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45. With these vectors, we can perform element-wise operations, such as adding elements from both vectors, multiplying dataset1 by 5, combining operations, such as dataset2 minus 3 times dataset1, or squaring a dataset, or taking the square root of a dataset. In each of these examples, the operations are performed element by element. Some operations apply to the entire vector, like summing all values in dataset1 with the sum command, finding the mean of dataset2 with the mean command, or counting a vector's elements with the length command. In this video, we introduced the installation process for R and RStudio and delved into the fundamental uses of R, from simple calculations to working with variables and vectors.